most of you know, Mike Kerruish died in July. He was just 61 years old. He of course had a distinguished career, but he was also a man who inspired love, affection and friendship among many people in many walks of life. Tonight we're going to pay a tribute to him.
Well, he was a really superb judge who not only worked hard but was really quite inspirational in what he did. He was incredibly loved by the court staff and I think really by almost all the litigants too. He had this real knack of being very clever and knowing what he needed to do in court with this effortless approachability with people, so that if we go out after court for I'd like to say a cup of tea, but it wouldn't have been, there was always somebody who'd come up to Mike and say, "Mike, how are you doing?" And I'm thinking, this is the first Deemster. Well, to him he wasn't to them he wasn't the first Deemster. He was good old Mike Kerruish. So many happy days at the pizzeria in Laxey and the Laxey Sailing Club and the Shore Public House, and it was all good fun. Being with Mike was fun, and that's really what I'll miss about him, because he was so much fun.
His honesty and his integrity and his caring, loving nature, and he had time for everyone. He was not hierarchical. He was a guiding light to me on many occasions, and his counsel, friendship and companionship is something I will always miss.
He was a brilliant person. I'm sure everyone's saying that. He was absolutely unique, like no one you could ever meet, really. He had this real combination of absolute fierce intelligence, but a warmth and humanity that I rarely come across anywhere else. And it was sort of the marrying of the two that just made him so special, I think.
So yeah, for him, becoming Attorney General was a huge wrench, and he deliberated about it and over it for some time. And then he came to see me one day and said, "Look, I've made my mind up. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it." And I think it was definitely the island's gain and our loss.
It was when I asked him why I went into the Manx judiciary from a senior partner of a law firm, which he clearly established as one of the forerunners in the island. And in doing so, he must have taken a considerable drop in his income. But the answer just shook me and gave me every faith in the Manx nation when he said, "I've taken it because I'm a Manxman."
He did then become First Deemster, and he would start to call me Stephen quite formally and everything, but he began to quickly call me his mucker.
In fact, the Isle of Man was really fortunate that he decided to come back and make his career here, because he would have excelled wherever he had settled.
And he was full of wisdom, full of good advice, and he thoroughly understood what made things tick in the Isle of Man.
He loved his Saturday afternoons after the football to come down and have a couple of beers, and it was great conversation. He had a terrific wit.
He was a real people person, very proud of his Manx roots. And it didn't matter, how high a position he was, he still made time for people and made them feel valued as well.
I knew Mike well. He was my uncle. As I was growing up, he was always supportive, he was always kind, he was always generous. In fact, he was a real role model for me. I really miss him.
When my father was first diagnosed with cancer, he got over it, so we thought, and after it we'd always decided that we wanted to go to Japan, which is quite a big thing really, because my dad had always been enjoyed Japanese culture, so we decided to go away for a week, and we started off in Tokyo, went down to Kyoto and spent some time in Hiroshima, and it was an evening in Kyoto really, and every evening we used to go doing a bit of sightseeing, and then we'd obviously retire back to the bar, where we'd enjoy each other's company and more than a few beers. And I remember after one particular story, he he just turned to me and, well, we were just talking, and he said, you know, it's a real wonderful life, this, it really is. You should go out and enjoy it. And that was pretty much it, really. And then unfortunately after that, well, you know.
Oh, I couldn't have a better dad, really. He was very loving and, you know, exactly what you'd want your dad to be and a lot more, really. He was, you know, just so easy to talk to and so enthusiastic about everything, and he was just lovely. Just somebody who really enjoyed life and wanted everybody around him to really enjoy life.
We met in March, and then we were married in September. Quite a quick romance, really, I suppose. Really.
What sort of memories do you have of him?
Well, lots of really, really good memories, obviously. Holidays and times just spent at home together, times with the children. But I suppose he was always quite romantic, really, for a chap. I remember Christmases we used to, after I'd made the mince pies and he'd decorate the tree and things, and the kids had gone to bed, he'd asked me to dance, and we danced. It was usually the Pogues, Fairy Tale of New York. We used to dance to that. That was one of his favourites. Yeah, so that was a good memory. The boys of the NYPD chorus will soon go away, and the bells are ringing out for Christmas Day.
What do you think he'd think about him being remembered in this way?
What would he think?
Yeah.
Well, he'd obviously be very, very pleased and very, very flattered, I suppose, and also quite surprised, because I've received letters from people from years and years ago who went to school with, and even some and worked with, and some of them I don't even know, and I feel like I wish he was there so I could tell him. You know, yeah. And ask him who some of these people were as well, because you know, because I didn't know them all, and people he worked with, people he was friends with, and it's just overwhelming, really, and overwhelming, very touching about all the lovely things they said about him. A true Manxman, that was another thing that always used to come out. He was a real true Manxman, and he loved the island, and it's a pity he's not anymore.
Mike Kerruish was probably the most genuine man I've ever known in my life. He was a great person, a great family man, and a true Manxman.
I will miss him forever.
Well, he was a man who I could talk to as my best friend.
I mean, I think it's still, even though he's not been in work for a while, it still hasn't sunk in that he's not there. I still expect to see him come walking down the office whistling the theme tune to the Banana Splits.
I would have followed him into battle without question, and there's no one else I would say that about. He was just unique, just brilliant. I'll think about him every day, I think, probably for as long as I'm alive. He was an inspiration professionally and personally. He gave so much of himself to his work, to his staff. He had an overriding love for his family, which absolutely shone through everything he did. He was just amazing.
He was somebody who will never be forgotten. He had a great raucous laugh. He had a great sense of humour.
I miss him, but he's still there.
It's just he wanted people to enjoy life and just be happy.
An honest Manxman who had great pride in the island, who felt passionately about it, and a great loss to this island.
Just having him about, really, and how cheerful he was, and yeah, he's such a good fellow. I miss everything.
Kindness, and very warm-hearted, very generous, and very loyal to his friends and his family, and the Isle of Man.